Inside, the world is not a world at all. A vast, silent darkness stretches like a held breath. Thin shards of a sigil hang suspended, like broken circuitry drifting through nothing. In the center stands Emsky, small, upright, alone. The silence fractures as something takes shape. A towering silhouette, an outline stitched from shifting, glitching geometry. It leans forward, voice calm and absolute. You resist. Unusual. Cease. The tone is a void, dressed as instruction. Emsky's hands tighten. He answers with the smallest sound. No. A whisper. Stubborn and human. He plants his feet on a ground that isn't ground. The mark on his palm glows, then sputters as if the light itself hesitates. He steadies his breathing and finds words that claim him. This body. This mind. It's mine, not yours. The voice rises, trembling but firm. Identity, not power, is his weapon. It's a statement anchored in memory and stubborn history, not raw force. The silhouette convulses. Its edges fracture, geometry tearing where doubt intrudes. The host asserts sovereignty. Conflict detected. It intones, sharper now, less composed. Emsky winces but refuses collapse. Yeah, get used to it. Pain flashes across his face, sweat and exhaustion marking him. But behind his eyes, a private light begins to assemble his light. Warm and ragged, pushing back. Identity persists. The entity says, almost surprised. Emsky gasps, the words coming in ragged bursts. I'm not your doorway. I'm not your puppet. I'm still me. He snaps back into the world with a violent inhale. His aura flares, the color his own, forcing through the cold smear. Super A reaches out, hope cracking open. Emsky! You're fighting it, I can see it. The entity recoils, thinned and unstable. Resistance noted, adaptation required. It simmers, as the struggle moves from mind to flesh. After the strike, silence is heavier than the boom. Emsky kneels, half collapsed, his aura sputtering like a dying lantern. Super A keeps a steady hand on his shoulder, voice low and urgent. Emsky, if you're still in there, let me in. I can reinforce you. Emsky's answer is thin, ragged. I can't hold it alone. Super A closes his eyes, forehead leaning to meet Emsky's. A soft thread of light winds between them, small and stubborn. Two wills, one purpose. He murmurs, fierce and quiet. Just follow my lead. They slip together into a shared mind space, a hybrid realm of memory and myth. Darkness remains, but not emptiness. Super A arrives like a controlled streak beside Emsky. The entity twists ahead, its form tearing at the edges. A voice, fractured and awful, growls, unauthorized link detected, host integrity compromised. Super A answers, defiant. Yeah? Then compromise this. They push not a flashy blast, but a pressure of intent, an assertion of identity. Their joined presence presses like tides against stone. Cracks avalanche across the entity's silhouette. Not power as the entity understands it, but power all the same. Emsky finds sound, shouting, "Get out!" The creature retaliates with fractal tendrils of glitch energy. Pain lances through both minds. They are thrown, wobbling, straining to stay aligned. The entity snarls, dual consciousness detected, escalating countermeasures. Super A shouts, hoarse, "Emsky, don't break! Stay with me!" They hold. They force the breach shut, but the win has a price. A hush falls. In the aftermath, one heart slows, and one hero carries a new, silent scar. In two frames at once they stand, the same moment split into thought and flesh. On the left, an alley lit by sickly lamps. Emsky and Super A press foreheads, luminous cords of energy knitting between them. On the right, a shattered mindscape rises, jagged towers of memory, and a towering angular entity that eats space like a machine. Super A's glow falters. He breathes, voice thin. It's getting heavier. A shared burden, but not an equal one. Inside that mental cathedral, Super A's form glitches, lines of static tearing through him like frost through glass. He strains out, "This thing, it's pushing straight through me." The entity answers without mercy, cold and calculating. Secondary consciousness insufficient, overload imminent. Its words are like pressure against the chest. Emsky spins toward him, determination cracking into panic as the entity extends long, geometric tendrils that probe and press. He shouts, "No! Don't take the hit for me!" Super A grips on with ragged will. I'm helping you stand, but helping becomes sacrifice. Back in the alley, Super A's body jerks. One knee collapses to rough stone. Emsky's aura flares erratically, blue sparks and shards of light erupting as he tries to bear what Super A cannot. A grinding sound rips the air, every heartbeat a tolling bell. The caption is written across the skin of the moment. His mind strains. His body feels the cost. Horror floods Emsky's face. "Super A, stop, you're burning out!" In the mindscape, the fracture widens. Super A's projection shatters into pixelated shards, pieces drifting away like dying stars. The entity stabilizes, swelling into dominance. It intones, resistance collapsing. Primary host soon compliant. Super A clings to the last filament of consciousness. Voice barely a whisper. "And not while I can still stand." Then the world tilts on a single, violent edge. Emsky's voice breaks through the air like a blade. "Super A!" The mindscape shivered. A web of light between two souls screamed as it cracked and static raked across the shared room of thought. Super A wavered, form unraveling into flickers. I can't hold it," he gasped, eyes wide and raw. "I'm slipping." Emsky lunged through the fracture, determination carved in his face. He reached, fingers brushing the glowing tether that bound them. Pain flared. The connection bit like fire. "Then I'm ending this. Now!" he shouted, voice iron and pleading. Up close, his resolve was a blade. He gripped the tether with both hands, palms burning under haunted light. "This link, it's mine. I started it. I end it," he hissed between clenched teeth. Something in the dark noticed. A cold, clinical voice echoed from nowhere. "Interference detected." Emsky ripped. The bond tore like strained silk. A shockwave detonated across the mindscape, crackling light and glitching shadows. The entity recoiled, surprised. A collapsing black star splitting at the strike. Super A flew back, stumbling but somehow more whole as the psychic chain dissolved. "Emsky!" he cried, relief raw. The entity snarled, "Unacceptable." They snapped back into the physical world. Super A hit the floor, gasping, alive. Emsky stood, barely, hands smoking, skin seared with pale sigils where the tether burned him. You saved me," Super A whispered. Emsky managed a weak, wry smile. "Yeah, don't make a habit of almost dying for me." Without Super A's reinforcement, the enemy surged, a void star becoming sharper, angrier. Primary host isolated. Reclamation in progress. The entity boomed. Emsky braced alone. Super A tried to rise, reaching out. "Emsky, no!" The space trembled. Every molecule attentive, Emsky's breath shallow. Super A's hand trembling in midair. And the entity's hunger folding the world toward a new, darker balance and promise of war. Reality trembles. Emsky staggers beneath a presence that sinks like ice into his mind. Air behind him ripples and warps, a heat mirage shimmer that crawls outward in slow agony. Super A drags himself forward, fingers scraping stone, voice thin with a plea. "Emsky, please hold on." He gasps, the words like thread. The entity presses closer, a shadow that tastes of static and hunger. And with it, something else slides into the ragged seam of the world. A violent rupture tears the air. A seam rips sideways as if fabric is shredded. Purple light fissures through the slit. Super A shields his eyes against the raw color and the scream of tearing reality. "What the?" he chokes. From that tear steps Visceral, composed and hungry, as if he had been waiting for the world to break. Aura bands coil around him, spiraling with patient malice. He looks at Emsky, then at the entity, hovering like a half-formed thought. "Well?" Visceral says, voice cool. "Looks like I picked the right moment to drop in." The entity replies in machine-echoed syllables, "Unidentified threat, analyzing." Before anyone can respond, Visceral strikes. He thrusts a hand not to save, but to extract. He aims at the wound between mind and invader. A crackling beam of destabilizing force lashes out. The entity convulses, its static silhouette splintering. Interference, unauthorized fracturing. It glitches. "Vistral, stop, you'll kill him!" Super A shouts, but Vistral only smirks. His gaze gleams predatory. The air bends under his will. "Relax. I didn't come to kill him. I came to break the thing trying to take him," he murmurs, then colder. "And maybe steal a piece for myself." The attack shears reality. The entity screams as shards of broken shadow explode into drifting static. The entity lashes out not at Vistral, but at everything around them. A violent, logic-breaking pulse of claws, geometry, and inverted light. Vistral's aura flares into a shield as the blast slams into him. A multi-voiced roar fills the air. Entity. Unacceptable, unacceptable, unacceptable. A figure called Super A is blown sideways, skidding across fractured ground. "Emsky," he struggles, coughing. Close on Emsky. Panic and pain flicker across his face. White gold fractures spider across his skin, like porcelain cracking. Behind him, the entity's silhouette peels away and then snaps back with elastic aggression. Emsky chokes. I can't. It's pulling. No, I'm pulling back?" The Bond phrase. The host fractures. Vistral seizes the moment. He darts past distorted limbs, hand aimed not at the thing itself, but the connection at Emsky's chest. A spiral of predatory energy coils hungry around his wrist. "Hold still, kid," Vistral says, focused and dangerous. "If I time this right, I peel it off you before it finishes rewriting your brain." Super A coughs, protesting. "Vistral, don't. Not like this." His hand touches Emsky's sternum. Everything flashes white. A psychic war zone ignites. Floating shards of memory, entity, constructs, shifting versions of Emsky. 3 figures stand within the mindscape, Emsky splitting into echoes. The entity towering as a glitch shadow. Vistral glowing like a blade of intent. 3 minds. 1 battlefield. No rules. Energy flares around Super A's arm like fire trying to reject him. He roars through distortion. "I'm not letting you do this alone." The fight is no longer outside or inside. It is every seam of them, raw and blazing, and the choice is still being fought for.